Welcome back to the infamous White Couch Talk. It's given Will and Jada Red Table Talk. Not. Okay, so this video, I'm not gonna lie, is one that I've been avoiding for a long time because like I'm usually a very private person and the story is kind of hard to tell, like my story. But something, I don't know if it's God, the universe, the spirits, whatever, has been telling me to tell my story, which is crazy if you was to hear it. So I think that a lot of people I talk to who interested in moving to Canada or moving anywhere or doing something outside the comfort zone, a lot of times their approach or thinking is like, well, I have kids, or I'm married with kids, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. And I don't know if there is the impression that I had it together when I was moving, but I absolutely did not. Like my life when I moved was an absolute show and not the good kind. The good kind where I'm the clown in the circus, okay? So I feel as though I want to tell the story. Hopefully I don't cry. I'm a very sensitive woman. And me moving was very traumatic for me. Everybody's story is different. Everybody experience is different. I always say that. This is for me, Cherise, her own set of circumstances, her own life, her own journey. Not to intimidate nobody. We just being real, right? Like I just could just be real, and it wasn't a bed of roses. So if you look at the title of the video, you go see I had so much going on in my life. I almost did not migrate because I felt like was it was it even humanly possible? So I guess I'll start from the beginning. I'm laughing, but it's not really a laughing matter. So I was looking at moving to Canada back in 2017, just casually looking at it. If you know me, I'm a person, I hate the cold. In Trinidad with that AC pumping on 17 or 18, I am like, like, oh. So to those who thinking about the cold, I am surviving. And to be honest, is get accustomed to it somewhat. Um, so I was doing research and then eventually I believe I applied in 2019 through the Federal Skills Worker Pathway Express Entry to migrate to Canada. At that point, I was um, in a long term relationship and we were both going to make the move. So in my mind, I'm gonna come to somewhere new, somewhere where I have never been, but you're gonna have company. You're gonna have somebody to ride out the newness and the stress and stuff with, right? And that is not what ended up happening. So I the pandemic hit and I got approved in November of 2019, and then the panoramic hit in March of 2020. So I like, all right, nobody know what the panoramic looking like. Like we just thinking is this extreme vicious cold that gonna go away in a few months time. Like we couldn't process in our minds the 2 year chokehold this panoramic was gonna have on us all, especially for those who were approved to migrate because when you tell you get your COPR, it's valid for what 6 to 9 months. Like you have to land within 6 to 9 months, or else your documents expire. And that is what happened to me. So, like, I watching this approval here, the airport started close. I am like, what? What? You know what it is to be in your mid late 20s and like you have this plan, and then the panoramic come and just shake it up. And I'm like, all right, okay. All right, you're watching. And then, like, Canada is a place they don't like the small talk. I'm not in no small talk with you. You just have to wait months and months to see, like, if they're going to tell you what to do, if they're going to extend the COPR so that it can land. Because once it expire, it done. Like, that's it. Your chance gone. So said, so done. The COPR expire. The panoramic still going on. Airports will still close. Things will like opening back, whatever. But life has to go on, right? So at this point, this is where I decided to pivot. And I'm like, whether I go or I stay, whether I migrate or I remain where I am, I'm going to be prosperous. I'm going to be fruitful. Life has to go on. I can't have this happen to me. And now, it seemingly is taken away because of circumstances. And I just throw my hands up in the air, like, things still have to keep going, right? So, things like that was my approach. So, with Express Entry, you're supposed to have a certain amount of money in the bank and thing. When it is you're gonna move, that's okay. But when it is your bills racking up and life is happening and the airport's closed and your documents expire, it's like, okay, I need to pivot, I need to deal with certain things, I need to take care of certain things. I need to change how I'm gonna approach my life here and now, right? So sad, so done. I got a promotion to another company I really wanted to work with for a long time. Oh, my hair is looking extra feely today. Looking extra straight from Africa, but you know what? We love our Africanness. Anyway, so I in 2022 in 2021 I got a promotion to this company that I always wanted to work for since I was in like university. I was like, it would be a dream to work here. So said so done. By then, the airports and thing were open. We back out. The mass mandates were toning down. Life was getting back to normal. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, Canada migrating is out of the question for me. I'm pivoting. I'm making things happen, right? Not for IRCC to send me an email saying, "Hey, are you still interested in moving to Canada?" as a one-time exception because a lot of people got approved during the panoramic. We had to use panoramic because me and want YouTube to be censoring me or whatever. So because you got approved during the panoramic and your stuff expire, like we would allow you to apply again. So I'm like, apply again? The money not in the bank. My life is not the same. I like I like but I'm a woman, I like to keep options open, right? So I'm a big believer in keeping options open for yourself, whether or not you're gonna capitalize on it. Like don't don't just throw your hands up and say, nah, I wanna do that. Do it, apply, do whatever, and if it is a get you, then make a decision. You got to have options in life. So I'm like, all right, well, I will reapply, but I reapplying like I don't really want to do this a second time. My life is totally different to what it was. So I did reapply. I'm in my new job. I'm living life. I'm good. I'm whatever. Not for me to get a package from DHL with my passport stamped with approval in it. I, 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 I was like, I remember sitting down by my desk and watching this passport with the thing in it, and I'm like, what? What? And to some, they would be ecstatic, right? But for me, I had to pivot. I had to pivot, change my mind. My proof of funds were no longer there. I was not going to be leaving my home country and moving to anywhere else. I was totally unprepared for this. So I'm like, okay. I remember sitting and watching the passport with the documents stamped with the approval. And I'm like, me and God had to have a one-on-one convo. I like, listen, God, if it is you want me to do this, you had to make a way. You have to make a way. This is a non-negotiable. If I do this, you had to make a way. I don't know if that's the proper way you're supposed to talk to God, but I had to level with him because I was really at my wits' end. Okay. So I watched that passport, and I'm gonna lie, maybe for 2 weeks, 14 days, I didn't tell a soul because I didn't make a decision as to what I was going to do, and I was leaning towards not doing it. I was 80% sure that I was going to turn it down because I couldn't picture in my mind how I was getting the money. How am I going to move? I was in the midst of a divorce. Like, how can I possibly do this? How? My life was not perfect. My situation wasn't perfect. It wasn't what I planned it out to be. I had no support. I leaving everything I know, everybody I know, to go and walk into an airport in a city I've never seen before with nobody that I know there. Just, I just couldn't fathom it. And then on the 14th day, the Lord rested. Oh, actually, that's not right. But after the 14th day, my friend and I used to carpool to work on a morning, and we sat outside my workplace, and I told him, and he was very supportive. Like, you have friends who are like a sounding rod in life. I'm blessed to have a few. And obviously he was like, yeah, you have to do it. You need to do it. And I was like, I feel like I can't. I feel like I can't. I, I feel like I can't do it. I don't want to sound like I was ungrateful or I was complaining, but this is just reality. I was going through a lot in my personal life. I had started over my life from scratch, and I had a new direction I was heading with. And now I'm faced with the biggest choice of my life. I'm in a new job for like 3 months, getting good pay, something I always wanted to do, and then I have to turn this down to jump on a flight to go to an imaginary place as far as I'm concerned because I never went. So eventually I was like, I weighed the pros and cons, and I said, how would I feel in 20 years knowing I had the chance to try something different and I turned it down? And I knew that I would have regretted it, regardless of how to do it, whatever, just taking all of that out of it. I knew that I would have regretted it if I did not at least try. So that's what I started. That's what I stood on. The fact that I would regret it. I thought to myself, why not try it? And if it doesn't work, there is no shame, there's no embarrassment in going back to your home, going back to your family, and saying, at least I tried, it didn't work out for me. I'm coming home. There was no shame for me. So I risked it. I called my parents and I told them, like, before I did that, I was just like ghosting everybody because I couldn't have a normal conversation with people. And I had this life altering decision in the back of my mind. I just called my parents and I was like, I'm going to move to Canada in a month, in 30 days' time. And what I did was, well, when you get the approval to migrate, you have these 6 or 9 months. I can't remember which one it is. And my 9 months would have ended, or my period would have ended in November. So I was going to give myself that time to put money in the bank that I would have used. That proof of funds was gone. That was poof in the wind gone. I had things to do. I don't have this money to sit down here and I hope on a dream. And that money was gone. And I was like, let me go in November and give myself time to be financially able to be comfortable when I move. But then I thought, it's Canada, in the coldest parts of North America. Why would I move in November when it's cold and snowing? I had never seen snow in my life before. I had never. When my mother used to want to take me to trips in the winter, I would be like, take that money and buy me clothes. Because who want to go in that cold? Who? Not me. So I decided, I was like, listen, either way, I'll be lying to myself if I go in November. I know that I will chicken out. I will get comfortable. I wouldn't want to leave my family. I'll talk myself out of it. I knew it. So I went online and I booked a ticket 30 days from the date I decided that I'm going to do it. I booked a ticket, a one way, for 30 days later. I just did it. I just booked it. And then I called my parents and I said, I'm moving to Canada in 30 days' time. And I told my close friends, a small circle of people that I knew would be supportive and just, you know. So that's what I did. Um, since I no longer have the proof of funds that you really need, I booked an Airbnb for 30 days. Like I would have mentioned that in my first video. I booked an Airbnb for 30 days and I had a plan. My plan was, I'm going to take the first 30 days to get acquainted. I need to open a bank account. I need to get a SIN number so I can work. I need to learn how to do things. And you're like, I can't describe, I can't describe my experience of being alone, like totally alone in a next man land, just by yourself as a woman, no support. The the way that was traumatic for me is next level. And I was in the midst of a divorce. Like the day I landed in Canada, I had, I had to go through court and like, I had so much going on in my life. Like, y'all, it's serious. It's serious. It took an immense amount of strength that I didn't know I possessed to even get here. Oh, don't cry. Don't cry, don't cry. Okay. So I said I will give myself 30 days and I stepped out on faith that after 30 days, God will open a door for me to figure it out. I had just enough money in my bank account to cover me in Canada for 60 days. Just enough. And it wasn't even in a Canadian bank account, it was in my bank account in Trinidad. And that's important because Trinidad has a problem with Forex, foreign currency. So at the end of my first 30 days, when I wanted to move the money for my next 30 days, like just to cover another Airbnb for that second 30 days, because I hadn't yet found a job, I couldn't get any money. So when it is I say, I sometimes just want to bend over and skin out in front of some of these banks. This what I mean. I am in another country. I can't get my money. And y'all can't tell me when I go and get my money because it have a shortage and there's a queue. Where am I on the queue? You can't see. To this day, I never get through the bank. I had to be creative to get my money. I never get my money through the bank. But you know what it is to be 60 to 50 miles away from home without the ability to get your money? Whew. So I landed. I cried. I cried so much. I don't know if I ever mentioned, but I'm a twin. I have a twin sister. So I feel as though I've never had to be alone in my life. This is just my story. I've always had somebody. I had my twin sister. We weren't attached to the hip, but you always have somebody. And then I was in a long-term relationship, so I had someone. And then all of that was gone. And for the first time, I found myself without anybody, in the sense that there is a comfort that you get just having somebody. And for it to be taken, not taken, for it to no longer be there and be going through the transition of moving your life and taking this huge risk that could either make you or break you. It was intensely traumatic for me. I'm in a new country. I have to learn how to cross the street. I have to learn that they add taxes after your cash. Like, they might seem like small things, but they're big things because when you are where you're from, you're having a hard day, you know, you could go bowling, or you could go on the avenue and just buy wings, or like you don't even have coping mechanisms. That's it. Like I no longer had coping mechanisms. I was just in a new place dealing with a lot of emotional stuff alone, no coping mechanisms. And by the grace of God, I was able to take it day by day and push through. So by I gave myself, when I landed, I said I'm giving myself another 2 months to find a job and an apartment. One have to come before the other. Um and I did. Eventually I found a job within the 2 months, and then shortly after I got my apartment, which is where I still am. And I felt myself getting stronger every day. And I felt myself just grateful for the strength that I was having. You know, it's it was a lot. I've grown a lot from it. And I'm sharing this because I want y'all to understand that it wasn't perfect for me and it wasn't easy. And I didn't have help. I came here with nothing, knowing nothing, and nobody. And I still made it and I still did pretty okay. So when you think about moving, or when you think about things that you want to do in your life, I hope that you think about my story and you realize that anything is possible. It's literally possible for you to do it. You just have to believe in yourself. And I'm really glad I made it through this entire 20 something minute ordeal without crying, because whoo, I was like, girl, you can't be crying on the people internet. Yo, I have a very ugly cry. I'm like, yeah, so I needed to keep it cute. Yeah, so I had a lot of videos from that time, like figuring out and navigating things. I'm gonna upload them as shorts. Um, you know, in case you're interested, like it was just so chaotic back then. And like getting like settled and it's life here is not life home, but it is what it is. And I'm happy to be here. I miss home daily. I'm home every 3 months or every 6 months. Like you'll see me there more than here, but it's good. So thanks, guys. Thanks for always like checking in. Thanks for viewing, even though I post like rarely. I just find it hard to open up to people I don't know, but y'all open up to me, so it's only right that I do the same. Okay, bye.